When I think about the Black Plague, I think about the devastating outbreak in the 14th century, around 1350, where 40 to 60% of the continental population vanished. But who knew that Galveston had its own outbreak in 1920? Hi, I'm Joan Marshall, Director of the Bryan Museum, and I want to thank you for tuning in today for our series of our new exhibition on the War on Rats, commemorating the 100th anniversary of the outbreak of the Bubonic Plague in Galveston in 1920. So I encourage you to visit the museum. The exhibit will be up through the end of July. But I also want to thank our curators of the exhibition, Dr. Heather Wooten, who is with the Institute for Medical Humanities at UTMB, and Dr. Paula Summerly, who's the director of the Old Red Medical Museum at UTMB. If you have any questions for the presenters, please note them in the comments section and we'll make sure they are received by the presenters.
Well, we're very excited to be here today. This is the third exhibit in a collaboration between the Bryan Museum and UTMB that's been going on for the last 4 years. When we began this in the summer of 2019, we had absolutely no idea just how timely this was going to be, that here we are in the grips of a deadly pandemic of our own caused by the coronavirus. And 100 years ago, Galveston citizens were confronting a terror of their own that harkened back to the Dark Ages, and that was the Bubonic Plague. So this outbreak was considered to be the third pandemic that began in 1894 in China, and then it spread westward via ships to port cities throughout the globe, and in particular the United States and the Gulf Coast. So when it arrived in Galveston in June of 1920, it was already in Beaumont, New Orleans, Pensacola, Florida, and Veracruz, Mexico. So between June and November of 1920, Galveston had reported 18 cases. 12 of those were fatal. So of course it wasn't the full-blown outbreak that Europe suffered years ago, but it still had a wide level of fear attached to it. Now, like today, outbreaks, an outbreak that arrived at that time coincided with your social and economic unrest. When you think of 1920, think of just a couple of years before that. The nation was just emerging from this global conflagration, which was World War I. And then right on the heels of that, you had the influenza pandemic of 1918 and 1919. So here you have Galveston a year later trying to get on its feet after suffering the effects of all of that. And they're trying to get back to normal, except there's a lot of unrest going on here. And so they have a bathing beauty review going on the beach. At the same time, you have a strike at the wharf, and then you have a bubonic plague. So all of this is going on at the same time. This exhibit tells that story. And we wanted to explore it through a series of themes. One of them was causation. What causes the bubonic plague? How is it spread? We wanted to talk about diagnostics and treatment, who some of these victims were here in Galveston. And then we also wanted to explore the anti-plague campaign that Galveston officials implemented to try to stem this, and that was called the War on Rats. So there's a lot here that we look forward to talking to you about.
So I hope you'll tune in to the series of videos exploring the exhibition with Dr. Summerly and Dr. Wooten.